to the GTAV Geospatial Enrichment Series, webinar number 1, how to use Survey 123. This session focuses on how to implement Survey 123 into geography fieldwork and will provide examples and suggestions of how to best create Survey 123 resources for your classroom. Now, my name is Miriam Gad, and I'm the Education Manager here at GTAV, and I will host today this session. We have Kes Schofield in the background, our project officer education, and she will make sure that everything runs smoothly in the background, as we have also Genevieve Newton, our EO, with us. So, but before we start, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, which in my case is the lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. I also acknowledge and thank the Department of Education and Training for their support and funding under the Shared Partnership Program that enables us to hold this session today. So thank you very much. We have few key points and housekeeping things to share with you, so please bear with me. As you might have noticed, this session will be recorded. Please turn off your microphones and cameras, and I think most of you have done that anyway. That makes it easier for all of us. If you have questions for our presenters, I encourage you to put the questions straight into the chat function, and our presenter Jenna will, when she is able to, will answer the question straight away or later after the session. So the recording, which I just let you know, we have that in place. We will make available very soon. So, but let me introduce our wonderful presenter, Jenna Williams, to you. Jenna is the Education Project Manager at Esri Australia. And Jenna is a marine biologist by training, with a research focus, very interesting, on shark ecology and anthropogenic impacts. Another passion of Jenna is STEM education. And here I want to read, where she thrives on enlightening young minds in environmental issues, particularly around the importance of ecosystem locations and the importance of mapping. So Jenna has been a wonderful supporter for the GTAV over the last months, and I just want to say thank you again. She presented at the annual conference and has given already PL sessions, so we are really valuing her contribution, and we are very grateful that she could make it today. So thank you, Jenna, for being here with us and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us. So I would say I'm just stopping here the sharing, and I give the control to Jenna.
Thank you, Miriam. Let's see if I can go ahead and share. Okay, can you all see my screen? Yes, fabulous.
Yes, okay. we can.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I can't see many screens, so verbal communication is necessary. Thank you so much. Alrighty, so as Miriam introduced, I am Jenna Williams. I'm the Education Program Manager for Esri Australia. I have been a marine scientist for the past 10 years. Which means that my expertise is basically in environmental data collection and analysis. That makes me a very good person to actually discuss with you how Survey 123 can actually be implemented in real life, not just in like a classroom basis, but also actually bringing it into the next stages of their careers and taking it actually into, you know, university level and beyond. So for the majority of you, you will already have an ArcGIS account with us. If you do not, that is not a problem whatsoever. At the very end, I will quickly go through how you can sign up for an account with us. And also, please be aware that everything I am about to go through, I do have some step-by-step tutorial videos on how to do it as well. So please don't think that you need to be scribbling down notes left, right, and center. I will point out at the end some really great resources to help you to learn this. Okay. All right. So once you have got onto your ArcGIS account, it will look something like this, okay? And there's a lot of orientation that we can do with the program, and I'm more than happy if people want a one-on-one session or want another webinar specifically on like the orientation of how to actually use the program. That is completely fine. But this specific example today is going to actually be on survey 123. So once you're logged in, you go over to this little waffle pod next to your face, and if you click on that, it will drop down all the online cloud applications that you have access to with your education account. In one of those, somewhere down here, is survey 123. So mine's at the top because I use it very often, but yours might be a little bit further down. So it's just this little green icon, okay? So you can go ahead and click that, and it will bring you to your ArcGIS Survey 123 home screen, okay? So my home screen has been populated with all the surveys that I've created. So you can see there's quite a few, but you might not have ever used it before, and so this page would be completely blank. That's absolutely fine, okay? What you can see here is basically any surveys that you've created only, but there is ways to see other people's surveys and groups and stuff, which I'll touch on later, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to break this session down into giving you some examples of how it can actually be used. Then I'm going to get you guys to complete a survey just so you can kind of get your heads around how it's actually done. And then we're going to go into how you can actually like use that in other applications and how you can map your data. And then finally, we're going to touch on how you actually create it, which is the easiest part of it all. So that's why I'm saving that till last, okay? If you have any questions about anything in the meantime, please do feel free to pop it in the chat, and I will answer as many questions as possible at the end, okay? Alrighty, so when you have your survey set up, I'm going to use this specific one as an example. So this was a survey that we did collecting abiotic data at Port of Brisbane up here in Queensland. And basically what we did is we designed a survey specifically for the area that we were going and specifically for the like attributes that we wanted to collect while we were in the field. So that being said, these surveys can be absolutely modified and changed to be whatever it is that you want them to be. So if you want to collect data on, age ranges in your neighborhood, that's fine. On field excursion data, collecting things in quadrats, that's fine. I even made a survey 123 on people's preferences for a party at work. So literally the options are endless, just up to your imagination, basically. So this specific example, like I said, was looking at abiotic data. So the first question was about which quadrant are they in? And so we basically just give them a question, and I will teach you how to actually formulate this. I'm just showing you an example for now. So we set a question, which quadrant are you in? 1, 2, 3, 4 down the side here. And when they actually when they actually get to that question, they have a little drop down, as you can see here, which shows them what that question will look like. So if I go on this preview option, you can actually get a bit of an understanding of what it would look like to take this survey when you're in the field, okay? So you can do these surveys on your phone or on a tablet or on any kind of electronic device, and they can be taken offline. So for example, if I was going in the middle of the outback somewhere that wasn't going to have a lot of reception or any Wi-Fi, that is completely fine. I can actually download the survey onto the application on the phone, save it on the application, and then just fill it out while I'm in the field, save that data. Once I get back into like an area where they've got decent signal, then the answers will just automatically upload, okay? So let's pretend that I'm in the field right now and I drop this down. I'm doing quadrat 1. The next question is find area or place. So when this pops up on the phone, they will have an icon pop up that says allow GPS like tracking, how you all get that pop up. If they press allow, it will just drop a pin exactly where they are, okay? Survey 123 GPS tracking is accurate up to 3 meters. So as long as your quadrats are a little bit further than 3 meters away, it can actually specifically perfectly identify where everything is. And I'll show you what it did with this data in a minute. Next, we had a question on air temperature, surface temperature, all these kind of things. And all they would do is basically just fill out, you know, the form as they're going along, and you know, fill in what they want to do, for example, like that. Yeah. Then the very last question is taking a picture. So they can click on the picture, take a picture on their phone, and it will upload into the survey. So that's basically taking the survey, okay, which you guys are going to have a go at doing in a minute. Once you have actually collected all the data in the field, it automatically analyzes it for you, okay? So it produces graphs and maps automatically for you, okay? So for example, this is the Quadrat data. So only four students did this data. It was just a very, very quick like example one that we did. So 4 students did this data. You can see Quadrat 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I actually zoom out, you can see how ridiculously close together they were. And you can still identify very clearly which survey is which. As I go down, you can choose to see your data in a column graph, a bar graph, a pie chart, or a map. If you choose a map, it will automatically create a legend for you as well. Now, I did have someone mention at the geography conference for Queensland that it is part of the syllabus that the students have to create their own graphs. That's absolutely fine. Just because it does actually produce the graphs for you doesn't mean that you have to use them. It's just great to know that they're there. It's also really great for like a differentiation, you know, if students need any assistance with graphing, or if students are kind of visual learners and they just need to get an idea of what the graph should look like that they're producing, they're really useful for stuff like that. But I do have the majority of teachers, they just use the graphs that Survey 123 produce because I guess it's easier for them, but they're good graphs too. So yeah, so that's the data that it collects. And like I said, it produces some really lovely analysis. And then at the bottom here, you can see the photos, okay? If I go into the data tab, then I have a little bit more flexibility with what I can do here. I can click on any of the quadrats that we went to, and I can actually view the answers that were taken for that specific area. So I can see the image here at the bottom as well. I can filter the results. So this is really great if you, for example, go on a excursion for maybe 2 or 3 days and you want to compare the data taken on day 1 and day 3, then you can actually filter the date here to show you only results from day 1 and day 3, and then you can compare them very easily, rather than having to, like, you know, take all the second day data out and faff around with it. You can actually just filter it. You can also filter it so you can see specific questions. So if you were only interested in what the pH was, for example, of these quadrats, you can filter it so it's only showing the data for pH. Okay, so that's just a really useful little trick there, is the filter option. You can also create a report of all your data. So all you do is click on this report button, okay? And you can choose 1 record or all 4 records, or however many records you have in your actual database. And then from there, you can go ahead and generate a Word document or a PDF, depending on what data you've got selected, okay? That's really useful if you're wanting them to actually put their data that they've collected and designed into their assignment piece. If you're using a Word document, you can actually just like export that as a Word document and then place it in their assignment, which is really useful. And lastly, we've got export as Excel or CSV file, shape files, all that kind of thing. This is really good if you, for whatever reason, want to put your data into ArcGIS Online or another mapping database. But I always just tell people, if you click this open in Map Viewer and you just save this as a layer, when you go to your content in your ArcGIS Online account, it will actually be there, and you can then just open it and modify it and change it just like you do with any other ArcGIS layer. And I will show you how to do that in a second. But yeah, basically, if you're wanting to then put your data that you collect in the field into your map, definitely do it that way. So much easier than creating your own Excel spreadsheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to break this down a little bit further, and I'm going to give you guys a chance to actually complete one of these surveys. Okay, so this example is basically just, it's a bit of a laugh. Please don't take it seriously. It's about your spirit animal. And basically what I want you to do is fill out the, just scan the QR code and then go ahead and fill out the survey. And then, you know, once I've got everybody's results, I'll kind of take you through a little bit of the process. But please feel free to just scan that QR code, fill out the questions, and basically you'll see how easy it is to actually complete one of these surveys. Okay, so I'll give y'all 2 or 3 minutes just to do that. This is really great for if you are actually in the field and you need to get instantaneous data. So as soon as people start to fill out this survey, your results will come to me immediately. So I currently have 70 results already for this survey. So I'll know how many people have actually sent it through to me. If I go back to my surveys, I've received 1 so far. So does anybody need me to put that QR code back on? You can type in the chat, I can see the chat. If anybody needs me to put the QR code back on. Okay, so now I've got 78. So I've already got 8 people's results back. Okay, you guys are in Melbourne, I'm in Brisbane. Really doesn't matter for these surveys. You can do them absolutely anywhere. And basically, this is really great. So say, for example, you've got some students that are, you know, distributed in different locations around your survey area that you're in the field. You can actually be looking at who's submitting their data, and you can actually be identifying in real time exactly where they are and what they're doing, because as you can see, you get the data instantaneously. And this is great as well. Like when I used to use this in the field, sometimes I would need the data immediately to understand what my next kind of location would be. So I would like look at my data and the analysis that it's already done instantaneously. That would give me the idea of where to go next with my data, if that makes sense. Okay, so I've currently got 89 results. I'm sure some people are still going along with it. So I'll just give another 30 seconds or so for people to submit that. Yeah, I've just done another one. I'll give another 30 seconds, and then basically I'll take you on the next step of what we actually do with that data. So again, please don't take these questions seriously. They're just a bit of fun. And the sillier the answers, the better, actually. So yeah. But while we're just waiting on the last few people to send that out, you can actually see that here I created a survey for the party at work that I was saying before. So yeah, just have a quick look. This was fun. I'm glad it was fun. I'm glad it's not boring. All right. So I'm going to refresh one more time, and then I'm going to show you the answers, and we're going to have a bit of a laugh at what everybody wrote. Okay, so let's have a look. Yeah, 91. 91, that'll do. Okie dokie. If you didn't fill it out or you didn't have time, just feel free to submit it anyway. Like I like reading them afterwards. Okay, so if I go on the analysis, right now, I'm going to get the analysis of all 91 results, which obviously is not that great considering that I'm only interested in what you guys have said. So this is where I can use that filter option. Okay, so now you can see like all across Australia, people have said, people have answered this survey. Apparently not Perth. Apparently I don't do anything in Perth. Also these people up here, these people teach geography. Just want to point that one out there. These people teach geography. Everybody that's done this survey has been in Australia, just so you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter it to only see today's answers. Okay. And then it's going to have a bit of a go. Yep. Okie dokie. So everybody pretty much in this team considers themselves responsible and brave. Nobody is attractive. Everybody is apparently ugly in this cohort. Brilliant. Everybody loves chocolate and crisps. Absolutely. Yep. Cheese is up there. Everybody hates cake. Poor cake. Everybody's amazing, amazing teachers. love the confidence. This person hates their children. Look at them. Wow. If they were an animal, a lot of people are big cats, a lot of people are not, and very mixed bag. We've got some butterflies, we've got some dogs, we've got some lions. No one's a sloth. Okay. So it's a little bit of fun. Okay, it's a little bit of an icebreaker that I do when I'm doing survey 1, 2, 3 workshops and stuff, but you get the idea. Okay, you can make this survey about literally anything. I mean, we just answered questions about our spirit animal. You can make these surveys so personal to whatever it is that you're doing, and then you can have the results analyzed and graphed instantaneously. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you actually save it, and so you can use it in ArcGIS Online. So next we'd go to our data tab. Okay, and all these dots around the world when they should all be in Australia. It makes me laugh every time. Okay, so from here, we're going to go on open in map viewer. I'm going to go on save as, and I'm going to type in example and press save map. Now I've already gone ahead and done this so that it's not taking time to load and save and all the rest of it. But basically that's what you would do. So we'd save it exactly as it is. Yeah. From there, you can click out of it and you can go back to your home screen, to your ArcGIS Online account. Okay. This is why I didn't save it before, because I didn't want I'm working from home today. My internet's not amazing. So here we go. So if I go into content now, you can see right at the top there, GTAV example. That's the one that I saved, 19th of October. It's the one that I saved today. Okay. So then I can go into open that up, and there is my survey result. And here are all my results that we did on the survey. Okay. So for example, if I go down here and have a look in Melbourne, we got a lot going on. Yeah. From here, I can rename this. So I can say, example, 19th of October 2022, for example, and save that. Okay, and now that is my layer that from there I can go ahead and add other content exactly the same as if I was doing a map in ArcGIS Online. Okay, so I can go ahead and add any of this kind of thing. Yeah, I can change the base map on it. Maybe we want to make it a little bit more realistic. Maybe we want to make it a little bit like, I don't know, mid-century map, why not? So as you can see, that is how you would have your survey data. Do it like you basically just did a survey. You saw how easy it was. It instantaneously came to me. I clicked on the analyze button, looked through all the graphs and everything, which I can export or make as a report. Okay, I then saved the layer and open it in ArcGIS. Yeah. I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat because there's a few questions. Yeah, for the food, you can drag and drop. You have to click on the numbers. Yeah, sometimes it's a bit finicky, that one. Gotta be a bear. Yeah, you can drag them. Yeah, the little hamburger on the right. Thanks, Kim. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so thank Kim answered that question, but yeah, brilliant. So I'm glad everybody enjoyed that. It's just a nice little icebreaker. So is there any questions about how you actually get the results from your survey 123 into your ArcGIS Online before I move on? Brilliant. Amazing. If someone's typing, I'll catch it in a second. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and close all these. And now I'm actually going to take you through how to create a survey 123. Okay, so you've had a bit of fun with it. You've seen how easy it is to use. Now you're going to see how easy it is to create one. Okay. So again, we're in our survey 123 homepage. Okay, and I'm just going to head over to new survey, and I'm going to go get started. You can choose blank survey, template, or whatever. I always just use blank survey because they're honestly easy enough to create from scratch. And I find that templates never truly have what you really want to achieve. Problems uploading photos and students can submit. I'll answer that question in a minute, Caroline, if that's okay. I'll ask issues at the end. Okay. So from here, okay, this is basically a blank survey 123. And I'm going to go up here and change this to, and again, guys, I'm really sorry, but because I'm a marine biologist, a lot of my examples are about marine things. So I know a lot of you do coastal erosion topics, so I'll do that. So for example, I'm going to name my survey coastal erosion. So I will say collecting data on the dunes. Okay, and that can be my setup. Yeah. From here, you've got a couple of buttons up at the top. Okay, so you've obviously got your overview, which is how many people have taken your survey. You've got design, which is the tab that we're currently in, which is how you formulate and create your survey. You've got collaborate, which I will discuss at the end. That's actually how you share it and how you set all the privacy permissions. So I'll go through that, don't worry. You've got the analysis tab, which we've already looked at. That's how you create your graphs and your maps. You've got the data tab, which enables you to create them reports and select individual results to have a look at all the answers and create a layer to put in ArcGIS Online. Settings is just settings. Okay, so on the design tab, this is how you actually create them. So down the right-hand side here, we've got this little add button. And if any of you use Story Maps, you'll see it's a very similar add button. So we've got categorized areas here. So anything that's to do with text, number, date, time will be found at the top here. Okay. Anything to do with different choices. So a yes, no question, multiple choice questions, drop downs, ratings, that kind of stuff will be here. Location questions, so your map question or your address question. Files, so images, files, uploads, signatures, that kind of thing. So for a signature would be good in a petition or something like that. And don't worry about the bottom ones. That's just like how you're going to display things. Okay, I'll touch on that at the end. So I'll go through these. So single text, right, is if you just drag and drop it over, or you can double click. Okay, so I always drag and drop, but it's completely up to preference. So a single line question is exactly what it says on the tin. It's just one line of text. So maybe this is write your name, for example, something that is not going to take up a lot of room. Okay. From here, you can do a hint. So a hint, you know, full name or first and last name, whatever it is that you want to say to them. And you can see that it populates a little hint underneath. This is really useful for if you're doing, say, for example, you're testing pH and you need to write like a little description of how they should actually go about doing that. You know, take the little paper slip and put it into the water and in that kind of thing. So it's really good for writing how you actually do the method underneath the question. Okay. And you've got these validation questions here. So you've got set this as a required question. If I click that, you can see that this little asterisk has come up saying that they can't move on until they've completed that question. This is really useful for if you've got students that love to do the bare minimum. So, you know, students that like, if they've got an option to not do it, they won't. And they kind of like glance over it. This is, however, only okay for questions that should be answered no matter their location. So I'll explain what I mean a little bit later on. But basically, if you're going to go to multiple sites and you've got a question that's only relevant to site A, do not put the required question asterisks on, or else they won't be able to move on without answering that question. But if they're not at site A, you can see it's not relevant. And so it can be a bit tricky. Another way to get around that is to simply not have this as a required question and just make sure that your students answer everything that they need to. Okay. Going back to this add button, okay, you've got multi-line text. So that's if you want them to write a fuller answer. So maybe you want them to write a couple of sentences about what they're seeing, or you want, their opinion on something or that kind of thing. Email and website, that's just for people to obviously write their email or upload a link to their, LinkedIn website or something like that. Number is obviously for any kind of numerical data that you're collecting. So pH, salinity, that kind of thing. Then you've got date, time, date and time. So if I just drag and drop, you can see it gives you a blank title, but it does have the spaces where you would populate the date and the time. So I can just say select date and time of collection for an example, okay? Anytime that you need to add another question, you just go to this little plus. So next, if I want to do a single choice, maybe I will say, do the dunes have human impacts? Question mark, okay? The choices might be yes, no, or unsure, for example. Okay. So if I populate my survey 123 now about all the impacts that are on the dunes, it wouldn't make sense for the person that had selected no to have to populate the rest of the questionnaire. Okay. So what you can do is, I'm just going to add this multiple choice question in here. If I can say, okay, select all the human impacts you see, for example. And again, these surveys can be whatever you want them to be. Erosion. Mine's just gone blank. I don't know. Someone give me another one. Someone give me another one. Mine's just gone blank. Can I start a new survey on a phone? Yes, you can start a new survey on your phone. Why is my mind just gone blank? Literally, I specialize in this, guys. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm just going to put habitat destruction. Love that. All right, so that's just an example, yeah? So now, if I click back on this question, so this, do dunes have human impacts? You'll see there's this little set rule icon here in the bottom right. Okay, thank you, man-made structure. Thank you, Pro. If I go on set rule, I can click on that. If the answer is yes, if the answer to this question is yes, please show select human impact. Okay. I can also set that for if it's unsure, select human impacts. Okay, and press OK. So now, if I was to select yes, the below question would appear. If I would select no, the below question would not appear. Does that make sense? Because the human impacts for question 4 isn't relevant if the answer is no, it doesn't have human impact. So if I go on my preview now here in the bottom right, I can have a little bit of a look of what my survey currently looks like, just to make sure that I know it's doing what I want it to do, and it's going to appear the way that I want it to appear. So as you can see, that 4th question isn't there right now because it is only linked to if I select yes or unsure. Okay, so I can go write my full name. I can go date of today, the time is now. Yeah. And do the dunes have human impacts? Yes, they do. Now, this question underneath has popped up. Okay. And I can select all the ones that are relevant, and then I can submit my questionnaire. Okay. So that's just a very quick example of how you would use that set rule which is really, really useful if you're at multiple sites, okay? Say, for example, I'll do another one. It's single choice. And this one is select your quadrat, okay? So quadrat 1, quadrat 2, quadrat 3, okay? From here, if I then want to find out what impacts are only in these instead of, does your June have impacts, for example, I can click on this one, go on set rule, and I can select question 1, select, sorry, it has to be under me. Sorry, my bad. So select all that apply. I'll just do the same ones just to kind of, oh, in fact, I'll do animals. So I'll do select your quadrat. Yeah, so they select it. And then the next question can be select all the species you see. Sorry, I'm trying to do this really quickly. So, when you're trying to do things quickly and you keep like making mistakes. All right, so select all the species that you see. So maybe we have, shore crab, maybe we have, I'm just making these up now, but you get the idea. All right, so you get the idea, okay? So now what you can do is go on, same kind of thing. So set rule, if your answer is, quadrat 2, select the species, yeah? Maybe if you're at quadrat 1, you're looking at human impacts. If you're at quadrat 2, you're looking at species, and so on and so on. Like, you get the idea, okay? Maybe if you are going here, okay? So quadrat 1, the human impacts here are bad, okay? So for example, you can go strongly disagree, agree, that kind of thing. And again, you can link it to one of these. So if they select quadrat 1, for example, they can say how bad the human impacts are. So, select quadrat 1, the human impacts here are bad, strongly agree. And then from strongly agree, you can set, you can ask another question, which is like, well, why do you think this? So, or you can select the image and say, take an image of what they're currently looking at, okay? So for example, let's say this is, why do you think that? And then this one is, take a photo of your quadrat, okay? So then you could say, yes, I strongly agree that human impacts are bad, so I strongly agree. Why do you think that? Okay, and now they're linked. And so again, if we go on to that preview option, we can get an understanding of what our survey will look like. But as you can see, guys, it's obviously very, very easy what I'm doing. I'm just literally dragging and dropping specific questions and making it relevant to what the data is that I want to collect, okay? So one piece of advice that I would give when you're creating a survey 123 is having in your mind what you want the results of your survey to look like. So for example, do you want to collect information on all the species in rock pools? Do you want to collect all the information on human impacts on the dunes? Because if you know what you're collecting, you can understand how to create this so that you get that data. Yes, I will show how the map aspect works. So again, if I go on, does human impacts on the dunes, click here, this one comes up. Select quadrat that you're on. If I select quadrat 2, it brings up the species. If I select quadrat 1, it changes to this question, which brings up the other things. Yeah? So, yes, I will. Okay, add. So this is basically the choice options here. So you've got single choice, multiple choice, a grid. So a grid just looks like that. So, you've got maybe quadrat 1, 2, 3, option 1, 2, 3, and then they choose which one is relevant to that kind of question. You've also got the rating, which is the question that you guys did before, like, I don't know, rate the impact. You know what I mean? Like 1 is obvious, and then you can put in here, 1 star is bad, 5 stars good. So you get the idea of the questions, okay? So, and same with the ranking. This is why I wanted you to do that questionnaire before, is so that you actually had an idea of what all the different questions did. So you did a rating question, you did a ranking question, you did a multiple choice question, that kind of thing. So you understand what they look like, okay? Next, we have the location options, okay? So when you are designing your survey 1, 2, 3, it is absolutely imperative that you put a location question, okay? So I'm going to drag and drop the map question. And obviously, guys, you would do these in order. Like I'm currently just dropping them anywhere to show you what it does. But yeah, you would obviously have like a nice order to yours. So the map question, if I drag it, it looks like that, okay? And basically, I just say, identify your location, allow GPS tracking on your device, okay? And from here, you can also change whether you want it to be a drawing tool, like a point. So if you want it to like pinpoint exactly where the area is that you're collecting data, a line. So say, for example, if you were doing data on 4x4, tires down a beach to look at the erosion, you could actually press the line and then walk down the 4x4 track so that the map is mapping the actual area that you're looking at. And you can do an area. So if you're doing like, a koala habitat, for example, and you're looking all around a specific habitat, then you can do this one as well. And so what that one would look like then is, I'll go on the preview. Okay, so go down to my map question, and you can either use current location, or you can just type in the actual location that you're at. So I'm at home. That's my address. Now it's dropped a pin exactly where I am. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Or you can just do the find my location bit here, and it drops a pin, which I'm not in Brisbane, but my laptop's registered to Brisbane, so that's interesting. Yeah, just do the you can just do that one, or you can drop a pin yourself. You can also change the base map from here, depending on what it is that you're looking at. So for example, I can change it to the hybrid, and there's my street. So that's basically what it would look like when you're doing this on your phone, okay? So you can either do the find my location, and you can extend the map as well and drop a pin, or you can just do find the address here, okay? It's a lot easier to do when you're actually on your phone rather than on a laptop, because obviously like when I'm on a laptop, it's showing it on a big screen like that, and it's a lot easier to drop a pin when you're actually using it on your phone. I can send an example survey 1, 2, 3 out that actually requires you to drop a location as well, if people would prefer. So yeah, but that's basically how you would add a map question. So there's also the option to add an address, okay? You can't add both. You can only choose one. If you are looking at doing multiple locations, so say, for example, quadrat 1, 2, 3, 4 along, a 100-meter transit line, you would want the map question because you would want it to pinpoint exactly where you are. Whereas the address question is really good for, say, for example, you're interviewing a community or you're interviewing, your neighborhood. You can type in their actual address and it will populate that way. Okay, so them are just like the differences in the address and the map questions. Okay. Then you've got the image question, which again is how you take a photo, like we added that one before. You've also got file upload, and they can actually upload. So if they've got a file on their phone, for example, they can actually upload, say, for example, if you've got a species identification guide, they can upload that to use while they're in the field. Is there an app to download for using my phone and students' phones? Yes. So it's exactly the same as if you were to download any app. So if you've got an Android or an iPhone, you just go to your, so I've got an iPhone, so I'd go to my app store and I just search survey 123, and it's the exact same icon as what it is currently up there. And you just download that. And then once you have the app, they have the option to scan the QR code, which I can't show you right now. I will show you at the end, I promise. But like you did before, where you just scan the QR code, and from there it will download onto the app, and that's how you can take it offline. So that's really important, because that's how you take it offline. Okay. Basically what I'm going to do is just ask, is there any other questions about how to actually formulate? Yes, you can do it from a browser. Is there any other questions how to actually formulate the survey? Because then what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to tell you quickly how to share your surveys, how to set the privacy settings, and then we're pretty much done with our session, and I'm willing to stay behind and do a few questions and answers, especially if anyone's been having any issues with anything. Okay, so I'll just quickly do this. So I'm going to have to use a different survey, because you can only collaborate once it's been published. Okay, so once you're happy with it, you can save it as many times as you want. Okay, doesn't affect anything. You can preview it as many times as you want, but once it's published, it's published. Okay, you can change it once it's been published, but once people have started answering it, if you start changing the questions, you'll have a real bad time when you're trying to like export reports or data or anything like that. So just have it in your head as once it's published, if that makes sense. Yeah. Once you have published it, and again, like I said, I'm going to have to choose one that I've actually published to show you how to share it. I'll just use the one that we all just did. So once you've made it published, you have the option to click on this collaborate tab. Collaborate tab will bring up a link for sharing. Okay, so you can just share that link with your students via a message or your, WhatsApp forum or whatever it is that you speak to your students on, or you can get them to skew the QR code, which is what all you guys did, and they can do that on the app, or they can just do it on their phones like you guys did and complete it in an internet browser. Okay, here you can also set the permissions. So everybody is obviously how you guys were able to do it. So if you are wanting to create a survey where you're interviewing people around your neighborhood, it's going to have to be put as public if you're wanting them to do it on their own devices. If you're wanting the students to actually be doing it on their device and just talking to them and filling the form out for them, then it can be members of my organization, or you can create groups and share it just with your group. So say, for example, I created Miss Williams's Year 7 geography class. I could share this survey just to Miss Williams' Year 7 geography class in that group. Okay. From here, you can also go on what can submitters do. So add new records, all that kind of thing. And this is just the nitty gritty, what you want your survey to be able to do. So say, for example, this one here, multiple submissions, allow multiple submissions, allow only one submission. If you're doing multiple quadrats and you're using the same survey, which I definitely recommend, because that way it gets all populated on the same map, you would want to make sure that allow multiple submissions is selected. Okay. When you're doing different locations, they fill out the survey at quadrat 1, for example, submit it, go to the next location, fill out the exact same survey with the exact same link, but for quadrat 2. And that's why you do all the questions on the same survey, because then all the results are populated on the same map. Okay. If you do a different survey for each location, it's not going to be all connected. You can connect it later, but it's a bit faffing around rather than just having it all done for you. Okay. And then the last thing that I'll show you as well is to share the results. Again, you can make it everyone, members, groups, and you can make sure that they only see their submission, or they can see all records. So if it's quite personal data that you're collecting from your students, for example, you want to make sure that they can only see what they've submitted and not like what all the other students have said. Okay. And other people use and or have access to the survey. Yes, they can. You just have to make sure that it's on everybody. Okay. If your students are in your organization, then you can just share it to the organization, and only people, so your organization is your school, only people in your organization can see it. Yeah. So there's a lot on privacy settings here, because obviously this was designed with children in mind, so privacy is quite important. Before I take any questions, I will just point out one last thing as well. On the Esri Australia GIS for Schools webpage, I've designed this to help as much as physically possible. And if you scroll down to this Learn ArcGIS card here, there's a little tab that's ArcGIS Survey 123, okay? And it basically goes through an introduction to survey, getting started, how to create and design a survey, how to do an analysis of results, and how to like basically put it in ArcGIS Online and symbolize your data, okay? So everything that we've gone over today, there are step-by-step videos on my website that can kind of go over what we've done, okay? So in a nutshell, that's pretty much it. For those of you that don't have an ArcGIS account that actually want one, this is the website where you go to get one as well. So you just go on this request GIS for your school card here, fill out the form and it will come to me, okay? And yeah, I will have a look at some questions now. So I hope that answered everybody's kind of how to create one of these things, how to actually use one, and you had some examples for them. So I'll have a bit of a look now at your questions and finish up.
There's not much more, I think, so far, just the one you answered.
Other people use, yeah. Can you create a survey for multiple classes and only see the results for your class? Absolutely, you would do that in your groups. So if I go back to my my account here, in groups, that's where I would create the different groups. So say, for example, Sarah's year 8 group, Sarah's year 7 group, Sarah's year 10 group, and you would only share the survey for whichever group was relevant. If your survey was relevant for all your groups, you would share it to each of the groups, if that makes sense. Okay. Is there any other questions before we finish up? My email is just education@esriaustralia.com.au. I am more than happy to have one-on-one sessions with people and do like a step-by-step workshop with you guys, and do a share screening. So we're all doing it together. I'm more than happy to even, you know, suggest tips and tricks and all the rest of it. And yeah, please email me with any issues that you have. And also please visit our GIS for Schools webpage and go on that little step-by-step help. And we've got cards for all the most popular accounts as well, even the drone one. So, okay, let's have a look at questions. I didn't realize that you can move the applications around. Yeah. Do the students need to be connected to the GIS to access the data? No, they don't have to be connected to the GIS account to access the data, but the data would have to be shared to everybody and made public. They do have to have an account to access the data in their organization. Can you ask a question about signing up your school, please? Absolutely, Karen, go for it. Caroline, can I please ask you to send me an email with what the issue was? Because I feel like that we're running out of time and I feel like I really want to give you the attention it deserves. Is Survey 123 separate from ArcGIS? No, it's not separate. If you are having an issue with accessing it, so you should be able to just go to the little waffle here, Survey 123, and create new. If you can't create a new one, I think your account might have not been set up correctly, in which case I will work with you to correct that. So again, feel free to email me and we'll sort that out, Kim. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Karen. Okay, so I will just pop my email in the chat here. because I really want to work with Kim and Caroline, especially to sort out them problems.
Excellent. I think other people might be also interested, Jenna, to get your email address, so it would be very helpful.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I will just pop that in to the chat. And then you guys can ask away any questions that you want. I don't know why it's not popping in the chat. Pop in the chat. Okay. There we go.
Fantastic. It's there. Beautiful.
Yes, Karen, it is from December 1st, but for special people, I do make an exception. So see, you'll have to see if you can sweet talk me to activate your account a little bit earlier.
Fantastic. You're very accommodating.
Yeah, guys, if anyone's got any issues, please do email me. Please send them through to me. Caroline, I will definitely help you with that images question that you had. Just send through an email. And yeah, guys, honestly, I really can't recommend Survey 123 enough for your field work. And we also have another one called Quick Capture, which I really strongly recommend too. Which we have the how-to videos here as well. Maybe we can do another session another time with Quick Capture for field work, because it is ridiculously good. Okay.
Fantastic. Jenna,
right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me just change the screen here. Beautiful. Jenna, thanks a lot. That was very, very informative. And I think it gave everyone an understanding, you know, how to start even and you know, structurally go forward. So thank you so much for giving us that insight. And I think you convinced a lot of people that that is so useful, a very versatile tool, and definitely very easy and a great field work really companion here to collect data. So thanks a lot, Jenna. And I would like to invite our participants to please have a look at the screen and give us feedback. We are always happy to get some ideas about new workshops and yeah, what could be improved or changed. We are always grateful for getting some advice. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and wishing you a good afternoon and enjoy your evening. So thank you and good